Hey, everybody, welcome back to another all new X's for Show, your premier media response show. But also, we love to play games. You can check the show out at X's for Show on all your social medias. As for me, you can check me out on all your social medias, larges and smalls, at Nico Action. That's NICOACTION.
And you can find me really missing the howl at the start of our broadcasts.
Oh yeah.
As soon as I didn't hear it, my heart kind of sank a little bit. But it's okay because it is, of course, Thanksgiving season. And of course, the two most important letters in Thanksgiving are TK, which is me, and you can find me at TK Elemental.
I love that. And you can find me over on the celebrating TK Thanksgiving and just the holiday season in general as we are entering it. Over at Kev O'Reilly, that's KEVOREALLY. And yeah, we are here to have some fun, are we not?
Yeah,
We've already got our lovely Tori Sheehan in the comments. Shout out to Tori. What up, buddy?
Now, we are here today to be part of the grand tradition of action-packed gaming. And action-packed games are always, action-packed. But what makes them even better is when we have a full complement. That's right. We could not play today's version of Bracketiering without one more smiling face. And I do agree with Tori in regard to TK's comment. Hands giving has a little bit less of a ring to it. It feels a little bit more German.
Hans do not be giving.
Hans giving. So let's bring in someone
TK.
who speaks a tiny little bit of Deutsch. And let's have him call us out for our pronunciation of the name Hans. Right? And let's bring Jonah in.
Oh, Thanksgiving? More like Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
The dead drop doesn't work when we can't see the floor, so we're gonna
No, you
work
can
on
pretend I
it.
did it. It was a perfect dip. My leg
Good
was up
work.
and everything. Hi.
Who are you?
Who are you? Where can we find you?
Oh, such aggressive questions. Hi, you can find me answering aggressive questions, like answering who I am, over on any social at Peak Jonah. That's PEAK.
All right. Well, okay. We love playing games here. In my heart, I am a Merv Griffin or a Goodman Todd or a Milton Bradley, if you will, a Parker brother. And
I will.
I love games, man. I love games so fucking much. And nothing makes me happier than getting to play new, cool, inventive games with these guys. And a couple of months back, we launched Bracketiering, in which we brack attack and look at some brackets and come up with our decisions. But then this guy right next to me was like, wait, guys, what if we bracketed another way? You should introduce it.
It's just Tier Maker. Everybody knows Tier Maker. We just we went for brackets, and now we're going for the tiers. And we had talked about doing tiers forever, and I just think we tend to gravitate more towards the verses of it all, like one-on-one fights. And where Tier Maker is just kind of a free-for-all, and we just see where everything susses out. But Tier Maker, of course, just announced that they are doing live voting. And so, yeah, as Kevo has posted, and I posted on our Twitter, we've got a link if you want to vote on these squads and how you rank them. And if we get into any sorts of tie situations, we might just have to pull that up. But yeah, we've got 25 squads, and we've got ranks from S to D, and we're just going to figure out who falls where. I'm a little worried because I think Nico especially, but Kevo too, is going to have a hard time ranking some of these squads as C's and D's, and some of these squads are C's and D's.
I just want to be clear that this list is not just about rank the squad. No. I came up with a new descriptor. It is squatitude. We are looking for the people with the most squatitude. That's what the S in S-class stands for. Squatitude, right?
Okay.
And then attitude, boditude, cotitude, and dotitude. So, like the names of the Knowles sisters. So, Beyonce, Ayonce, Beyonce, and Deonce. So
Charisma, uniqueness, Knerv.
oh man, and that is some
Knuv.
talent. So let's get this started, guys. We have, as always, our question, and our starting question is, of course, what makes a squad? What's squaditude to you guys? What is that squadification? What is your squad game? You know, what makes a squad and not just some dudes? For me, I need fighting. I need me to cut TK off every time he goes to talk. I need.
This is how our squad works. This squad isn't functioning if that's not happening.
That's what I need. I need some amount of like a little bit of infighting, but not infighting. I need some compelling drama. That's my squad, not just some people. What about you guys? What makes a squad?
I don't want to spoil anything, but one of the squads on this list is the Golden Girls. And it do be a known fact throughout all of media that they are the quintessential squad. That if you are going to write for even like insane wizard action television or insane clown posse, whatever it is, if your squad, if you're writing a TV show about wizards going to the insane clown posse concert, you're going to need 4 of them, and they're going to need to be Dorothy, Blanche, Rose, and Sophia. Your D&D parties, you need a Dorothy, Blanche, Rose, and Sophia. I think I can pretty much say right off the bat, they're getting the S. And they are the definition of a squad. Very distinct roles within the group. Can't really live without each other, can't live with each other. Nico, I love this smug smile like you created the Golden Girls.
Like I have that relationship with the Golden Girls that like a lot of faggots do, which is like I'm in 5th grade. I know I'm gay, and when I flip to Skinamax, I don't see what I want because every guy's in a cocksock. And so then I have 11 to 12 o'clock on Lifetime. I've got the Golden Girls, and they've been like my best friends since I'm a little kid, man. Like, they are really like, they're just such a huge part of my identity. And I think exactly what you're saying is true, but I think we can take it a step further. Every sitcom did it. Sex and the City, Will and Grace. They're just shades of Golden Girls. In fact, so sort of kind of is Sunny, but we'll get there.
You two, squads.
To pick up
You two is a great
the
squad.
baton. Are they? They're an okay squad. They're more like
Day.
it's more like Bono and then you guys two.
Bono is the
Edge.
Rose. The Edge is
No.
Sophia.
Anna is the Sophia.
Because he's got the
Edge
glasses.
is the Dorothy.
Yeah. He's got the glasses and a purse, so he's the Sophia. No. So one of the things that for me I think makes a squad, to pull out an old prop, not necessarily this squad, but in general, is family.
Mm-hmm.
Family. You know, you gotta have family. You gotta. It can't just be fighting. These guys fought too, so that's definitely part of your list. But there's gotta be a core tightness that brings you all back together. You know, much like our squad.
And much like
that
Vin
makes
Diesel
you a
at
family.
times. Sometimes he's got
Yes.
core tightness.
Sometimes,
Dom gets the call. Cadillac in space. Family barbecue.
So, Jonah,
Bam.
tell me, what makes a good squad for you? Do they each need a piece of the Millennium Puzzle? What makes a squad?
In my squads, I need distinct personalities. I need classic hijinks. I need comedy. I need tension. I do not need will they, won't they. I don't care for that. Get that out of me. P.U. None of
Just
that.
hang.
An amazing thing, most of these squads do not really have much romance or will they, won't they.
No, I love that.
There's a few notable exceptions, but like, ain't no fucking in the Smurfs.
That's what you think.
Let me tell you,
So we're told.
guys, I fell down a Smurf hole. Holy
Good for
shit.
you.
We've all seen that images of the Smurfs drawn as Tom of Finland. We've
No,
all
oh.
seen it.
Yes, obviously. I mean, like, I cosplay it, but like, no. Like, I got really deep into it, and like, certain books set up Smurf lore, and like, certain things are only mentioned in certain. There is a deep well of the Smurfs. It's Sandersonian. It's like,
How would you
Smurfisonian.
know?
How would I know? Right.
How does he
2
know
years
anything?
behind on reading those books, motherfucker.
How will I know?
If you ask,
And that's why he's 2 years behind, because he's doing stuff like reading up on
He's dropping
Smurfs.
into Smurf lore, I know.
Yeah. If you ask what.
Well, if you ask some friends, I'm like 5 years behind. So let's pop open some tier making.
Well,
and
let's catch
bring in
up
some
on
tiers.
comments real quick. We've got Cyborg T100
Cyborg.
saying happy night before. It's night before bonfire night over there in the UK. We've got
Oh,
Tori
that's
saying voting is hard before you hear the reasoning, and yet choices have been made.
Wait, is
Uh,
Bonfire
uh,
Night a thing?
It's the Guy Fawkes thing.
Oh, right. Remember, 5th of November.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fireworks night.
Time and
bonfire
space,
night,
right.
Guy
Fireworks
Fawkes
with
night.
me.
I gotta watch some V for Vagina.
Yeah,
Yep. I was told V for Vendetta is all you need to know, so that's fine.
I'm just
Da-
gonna watch Fire Walk with Me and pretend it's Bonfire Walk with Me. And,
Can I just tell you, though, this is a quick story about V for Vendetta, but it's my favorite story of all time.
Is it about how much you
Go
love
for it.
Natalie Portman?
So I do love Natalie Portman in that movie. I notoriously do not love Natalie Portman. I do love Natalie Portman in that movie. That movie, there's a scene where V comes in and puts a song on the jukebox, and it's I'm a Bird Now by Anthony and the Johnsons, which I love Anthony and the Johnsons, who are now Anoni and the Johnsons, because Anoni transitioned. But that, I was so into that album at that time, right when that movie came out. And it was like, that was a very just astute soundtrack moment, because it could have been any song, because of course it's supposed to be like, oh, this old-timey song on my jukebox, and old-timey is now what was then present day 2005-ish. So I'm listening to the song and I'm like sobbing in the movie theater because the movie's really doing it for me. Natalie Portman is great. And this beautiful song comes on, and I'm living in New York at the time. I walk out of the theater.
Okay,
and
Greta.
No, this is 100% me being a Brita piece of shit moment. 100%. I lived in New York. This could apply, by the way, to Brita from Community or Brita from season 12 of RuPaul's Drag Race, who also couldn't shut up about living in New York.
And the picture.
I walked out of the theater and directly into Anoni from Anthony and the Johnsons.
The moment my hands went up is when I knew how this story was going to end. So I just let Nico keep talking.
As you sometimes must do. But yeah, I love, anyway, I love V for Vendetta.
That is New York.
That is New
That
York.
is V for Vendetta. That is Natalie Portman.
I love that we're gonna talk
terrible
about your
squad,
other-
though. That is not a good group.
Natalie.
I can't wait to bring up your other big squad story on this list and New York partying, sir. So
Let's get it started.
let's get it going, guys.
Are
I'm
you
so excited.
curating your groupings, Nico?
What?
Are you doing these based on the groupings that we have? Okay, because it didn't populate the way I wanted it to, so I just need to...
Oh, we can do
Anyway.
it in that order. We can do it in
No,
any order. I
no,
don't care.
don't do it in this order. It's a mess. I just wanted to make sure you were calling it out like that.
Well, then let's get rolling.
Yeah.
You know, you can see that I'm in a Deadpool outfit. You can see that TK is wearing that awesome X-Men hat. And because I can tell it says Mutant Mendus on the front. and the back.
Mutatus mutandis.
Yeah, same thing. So, and then of course
Debutato.
we have Levitato.
Levitato.
Oh my God, I could watch Star in the Universe, Star versus the Forces of Evil. I just said Star in the Universes. Gotta go.
Star of the
Um,
Universe.
I love
Star
that.
and Barb
That's
versus the
the-
universe. Got it.
That's
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be the new thing. It's not just going to be remakes. It's actually going to be portmanteau remakes. And we're going to get Star and the Universe. And it's Star versus the Forces of Evil and Steven Universe. I'm so sorry.
And they're
so...
one wacky races car.
Stop trying to bring the Wacky Races back.
Well, I
They
can't.
already tried.
Well, because it didn't work because I didn't do it. So let's start with how much we love the X-Men. Our first crew is the original 5 X-Men. Now, that's going to be the classic lineup of Jean Grey, Scott Summers, Hank McCoy, Warren Worthington, and Bobby Drake. He's gay. So I'm really excited to talk about this crew, because if you're asking me where I put the 05 X-Men, they're a B team. That's a B team. That's a B team, just like its sales figures. Warren Worthington has never had a personality outside of a pair of sheets. Hank McCoy has varying quality of self, but this is not the time where it's great. All that we get from Hank at this point is some big feet. So I'm just not into it. This is not my lineup. Jean Grey's first solo story from this era, she talks about how much she loves vacuuming after the boys.
Well, hold on a sec. Hold on. I don't think this just has to be the 60s X-Men. This is the 05.
Oh wow, 80s X Factor, real winners.
You're still. I'm gonna get to the same point as you. I'm just saying it averages out to about a B, because you are right. If we were saying 60s X-Men, I would say no, that's a C or D tier team. And if we're talking X Factor, that does bump us up to about a B. If we're talking 05 transferred through time, I actually think they're getting pretty close to an A, even an S. That's just kind of a stupid time in X lore. If we're talking about where they are at the start of Krakoa, that's absolutely S. And when you average,
God,
Kevo with the images we
Hank.
need right where we need them.
God,
yeah,
Hank is
truly,
so hot.
Truly, yeah. So anyway, we're talking about these 5 people as a cohesive team throughout their history. And yeah, I actually do think, despite the fact that I love the X-Men the most, I love the mutants the most, these 5 combined throughout their history, it averages to a solid B.
So what you guys think? You guys think these are some B boys, or you guys thinking that these guys are reaching for those A levels? Is this your A team?
I'm like low B, high C.
Ooh.
And I'm not talking about the juice. This squad.
Don't talk about the juice. Just spill the tea.
This squad is. The problem with the X-Men is because they have so much canon across so many different writers, it's really hard to pinpoint, where exactly are their personalities at, because at what point in time are we talking about this team? But as a collective, as a whole, I'm probably like, this is like, I could be generous for the first one in B tier, and I'm willing to negotiate to putting it lower.
Kevo, how do you feel?
Are we gonna come back at all, or are these like final votes?
These are semi-final, but if we start talking and you're like, well, having said all that, I really
Everybody's got to move down one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if there's somebody where you're really like, oh, we did them dirty, but I feel like the X-Men at B is very fair.
Yeah, I mean, we're even seeing some comments. Cyborg's telling us that he feels they're a C team. Robbie, however, Robbie S.
Hey, Robbie.
Being an absolute super fan, saying they opened the doors, and I just want to be like, that's great, but I can still say that guy's a B valet and that guy's an S valet, and these gentlemen were B valets with one super amazing S-class woman.
I do agree, Robbie, that did factor into my equation, the fact that they are the original X-Men without whom we could not have the rest of them. Even factoring that in, the 60s X-Men are just terrible. And a lot of them don't really even get good until like 2000s or later. So, you know, I think you're right. Like, Warren never really gets good.
No,
never.
All right,
Bobby, I don't really think Bobby gets good as a gay person either, even though that's like the first time he gets. Anyway, sorry. I know you're trying to move us along. We got to get places.
We got 4 minutes in on this one, so we got.
Yeah, this is a B. This is a B.
And it's the X-Men. We could talk forever.
Exactly. Yeah.
They get all the attention they need.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about a crew that we don't talk about that much, but we often want to, and that's the original Buffy Scooby Gang. I went with original because you had to make some decisions here. You couldn't just say the Scooby Gang because by the end, that's 100 amazing women strong, and it would be unfair to discount them. But with the original Scooby Gang, I went with the core 4 plus Angel, Cordelia, and I couldn't find a good cast shot that didn't have Oz. So Oz made it in.
He was there, whether we liked it or not.
So if you're asking moi, what score I give the Buffy Scooby Gang, that core 4 gets an S class from me any day of the week. But once you add Cordelia, Angel, and Oz, I think you can put it between S and A. And so I'm a generous S minus A plus with whatever you guys think is the right move. That core 4 represents some of the best people ever to make a family on TV. But there's times that there simply wasn't room for everybody. And I think that's some of what an S-class team needs. There's always room.
Well, I guess there's room for everybody. Let's just say that.
I tend to agree. It's about between S and A. So my thing is, it's actually really Xander that's bringing the average down. Xander.
I'll stop dancing for that one.
No, please don't ever. Xander, I think what we all saw as sort of, we all knew a Xander. And the thing was, we were like, by the late 90s, early 2000s, we were still so ensconced in the patriarchy that nobody was ever going to be like, well, we should really talk about the Xander of our group.
We don't talk about Bruno.
We don't talk about Bruno. We don't talk about our Xanders. They just were kind of allowed to run rampant, get a little bit of a slap on the wrist when what they really deserved was a conversation where somebody went, hey, cut it the fuck out and don't ever behave like that again.
Stop talking about Michelle Trachtenberg's feet.
Wasn't
wasn't anyone in these pictures, but
that was real life Xander. That's kind of the whole thing. The fact that Xander is a stand-in for real life Xander, who is not a good person. Cordelia balances it out and brings it up to an A. Angel drops it back, or up to an S. Angel drops it back down to an A. Oz kind of keeps it at an A.
There was an S plus for just Angel by himself.
What?
I think
Oz and Angel are the same thing, except that Oz is the store
the short
brand
version.
Soda version.
You need to take out your love of bones.
Version.
No.
Take out your love of bones.
No, sweetheart. Sweetheart, no.
I love Angel for being unsmooth. I love Angel for all the times he trips. I don't love Angel when he's cool and telling you about the future. I love that he's a fanalo. I would follow Angel.
Tori, I completely agree. Nico being an Angel guy is shocking. I'm discovering this and I'm questioning everything I've ever heard.
Angel is Wolverine.
Yeah, no,
Angel
exactly.
is Wolverine.
Buffy is Jean, but Angel is Logan. I don't know why anyone's shocked that I like the pretentious guy who's given every culture as his barometer. Like, I almost said barometer, right? No, that's John Barrowmer. So Kevo gets
so I was going to say Angel drops it down or keeps it at an A. Angel drops down to an A. Oz keeps it there. Tara brings it back up to an S.
S plus.
S plus. I'm averaging them out. I want to vote the Buffy squad an S. I love them.
But here's part of why I actually agree with Nico's point, and I want to underline it, the point of why it should be an A, because look at all these things that we're saying. Cyborg also points out, A at this point, S at this point, up and down. It goes up and down, and that's why I think it can't necessarily be an S, because it is always at its core an A, but there are times that it gets an S when it has great people in it, and there's times when it's a B, like season 6. So, it does go up and down.
Season 7 is an S-class season, and anybody who doesn't agree with me is entitled to their own opinion.
Jesus Christ today. I can't.
My two favorite seasons are 5 and 7. The two best seasons are 5 and 7. Get It Done is one of my favorite pieces of television ever.
I don't. Jonah, what is your vote?
Now you see why I don't watch Buffy with anyone at all, ever.
It's
fun
okay. My
fact-
favorite episode is Restless, so I know what it's like to think.
Number 3.
Go
Things I
ahead, Joe.
found-
We've
no.
never watched.
Buffy. There's a Venn diagram of Buffy and Supernatural in the way that you don't think, and that they were both supposed to end at season 5 with one of the protagonists dying, and then it came back in season 6, and they were like, "Yeah, we keep going, I guess." For me,
Same with RuPaul's Drag Race,
yeah, Michelle was supposed to die.
And
then-
RuPaul.
season 5.
Alaska
And
was
then
going to absorb Michelle's nose into her own.
No, that was Jinx's nose. Is that a prosthetic? No, it's just my nose. So, this is probably very high A tier. There's just a little bit, I think, detracting from it to fully get an S tier. There's no, I will say that my dinging of the idea of like, will they, won't they, doesn't really happen because Angel and Oz don't feel like, oh, we're
Yeah, they
core
don't get
members of
together.
everything. They're just kind of like, oh, we're dating somebody in there. We kind of get invited sometimes.
You know what's really interesting for me? I feel really vindicated in hearing that, because when you ask me what Buffy as a show is about, it's Buffy and Angel. It's this pull and push of reality. For me, Willow is on her own journey. I wish Xander would just die. And I would rather Giles' prequel than anything that happens to him once he's on Buffy.
Want to only put in a word of defense for the version of Xander that emerges in season 5. He is absolutely not the same character as the first 4 full seasons of the show, but Dad Xander,
Kevo,
The
what does
glorified
Dad
bricklayer
Xander
guy.
do? What does Dad Xander do midway through season 6?
No, glorified bricklayer bowls a spare.
I'm not blaming any individual character for their choices in season 6 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That would be ridiculous.
The only person who makes bad choices is Xander. Everybody else, flawless. Wouldn't change a thing.
No, Anya makes the best decision ever, damning herself. So A class.
All right, we can do A. I do want to say that we did have some S-class votes, including from, I believe, one Miss Tori Sheehan, who I believe...
Is the smartest person in the world.
Precisely, and knows a thing or two about squads. Again, we threw a random group of hundreds of mutants at her, and she created the greatest mutant team in the history
She
of...
predicted the actual book
Right.
that's coming out now, which is just so
I'll
insane.
throw Tori under the bus. She hasn't seen all of Buffy, so
All right, I guess that means we got to do an A.
All right, now let's talk about the first team that I'm going to give us an S class to. Legit. The MCU Avengers, that original lineup of Avengers, let me tell you why they're S class. Let me tell you why this group of motherfuckers is S class. Because they're clowns. Every one of them's a clown. Tony Stark can't get out of his own way. Hawkeye is an archer hanging with
Hold
gods.
on, wait. Hello? Oh, the circus is calling. I think
Yeah,
it's all the
exactly.
clowns.
These are the monkeys. You know, the actual thing about this team that makes it the S-classest team so far for me is that they are so bad at being a team, and the only reason that they stay together is because they know it's what they have to do. It's a genuine convocation, and a convocation is an enormous part for me of being a family team. So now I got to say, this is an S-class team for me all the way. Anybody else, so I don't feel sad.
Somebody else
Oh.
speak. I always go immediately after Nico.
Is this an S-class squad? If I'm in this MCU universe and I'm there, am I joining the Avengers?
Doesn't it look like Tony's head is on fire in that bottom right?
Tony, your head this week was on fire. I'll save my RuPaul jokes for when we get to them.
But your hand job skills were less than desirable.
You're safe. I want. I don't know if I can quite give them S. There's a little too much intermucking for me that I'm like, I'm over the drama, I'm over the BS. I don't want to deal with it. But they are all entertaining in a certain kind of way. I'm willing to give this a low S or a high A. I am. That's where I would maybe personally put this.
Okay.
Goodness gracious. Yeah. Oh, original MCU, possibly DRC.
Cyborg, thank you.
Do you want to go then? If you see,
Yeah, we gotta
like you were
keep this
chirping.
moving. So
You
people
gotta
vote.
go then, buddy. What is your C or D on it?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate them. They are the worst. They are boring and stupid, and they're all
Thor is noting
heterosexual.
that. Thor. Oh yeah, Thor is heterosexual. Yeah. Okay.
I
Captain
mean,
America and Bucky never found a little time on that train to get a little bit mysterious in the dark. Okay.
that is very headcanon, my friend.
It is very headcanon. Yeah.
No, that is why Bucky cut his arm off, because he couldn't deal with the sin of having given a hand job.
I love this interpretation. I wish the Russo brothers had thought of it. Again, this is from Real Life Xander. This is all from the mind of Real Life Xander. As Robbie pointed out about the 05, they opened doors. None of what came after could be there. If we were talking about the Endgame Avengers, which is like 100 people strong, I would be voting S tier. These 6, I don't see it. This is, if I'm being real generous, this is a B tier team to me. I could not let you guys put this at S. A, maybe. I think S is insane.
All right, well then, Kevo, you got to come in. I gave it an S. Jonah gave it an A. TK's vote was so far below the rating that it established our first sub-basement. Kevo, what is your take on the original Avengers lineup?
I mean, I at least want to give them a B. I feel like, I don't think they were so abysmal. I think, see, Robbie's a little kinder in the right direction. A plus. I get everyone's too soft on them, and that is really fair. So I want to say B. Then my vote is going to be B. Because I do think that there's a lot of good there. It laid a lot of groundwork. It was rough watching a pilot unfold over like 6 years, but it's what happened, and it got us where we are now. So,
all right, then we got to just leave them at B. I don't think between a B and a Z plus they can really go higher than a B. So that makes the Avengers a B. But part of what this does lead us into is the point at which we decided to have a little bit of fun. It couldn't all be, 25 teams that were all the best team of all time. So what we decided to do was we decided to throw in some team favorites that maybe aren't the team you're thinking of. Now, this next one is one that I have been obsessed with since their first moment, and I introduced Kevo to them earlier today. We watched the movie. And I enjoyed the movie very much. I cried through most of it because I'm a giant baby for John Constantine. But let's talk about Justice League Dark. Justice League Dark, if you're asking me where this team goes on this list, I mean, you got my boy Etrigan. You got John Constantine. You have the Green himself. You got Alec Swamp Thing up there. Zatanna is amazing, but, she's parlor tricks. The worst version of Black Orchid of all time, bar none, ever. This is a C-class team. It's a C-class team with some S-class moments, but this team sucks. And I love them. But this was designed for me and me only. So if you're asking me about squaditude, what makes them a family, what brings them together, not a chance. This is just some people with the unfortunate habit of all doing black magic. That is it. Oh, and Batman.
I put this team way above the Avengers. I like them. They're fun. Do they have cohesion as a squad? Maybe not in terms of being able to actually function together. I'll give the Avengers this. When they come together at the end of that film, cohesive. They got that.
Bomb.
These guys are cohesively fun. I absolutely if everybody was like they got to be a B or higher, I would be totally okay with it. But I can see how they're a C squad, and I am fine with that. They also like they're not big, you know. They don't have a lot of hype. They haven't done a lot. They haven't really made their mark in media. So I'm comfortable with C.
Also, Etrigan is so hot.
Yeah, he a big boy.
He's such a big boy. Oh.
Change, O form of man.
Cake.
Arise the demon Etrigan! I love him so much.
I am. No, if you want to go first, go for it.
I was gonna say I have no real horse in this specific race. I have no pony to do any magic tricks with. I'm not a stage horse. I'm not a stage pony. They're fine. I am sure. C. I don't really know them. I don't know how they gel. They all look edgy, but that's not enough for me.
Respect.
I really enjoyed this movie. Like Nico said, we watched it earlier, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I was immediately like, I'd watch it again. I'd watch this as a Halloween thing. I'll add it to my list for marathon makers next year. But as a squad, I'm probably gonna go with Robbie and say a D. You know, very loosely squaditude. They don't feel like they would come together outside of this very specific set of needs. And that's okay. That's okay. But then you're not quite a squad, are you? This is about squad goals.
Nah, this is about squad goals. You can't just be some people.
So what is that? Are we doing C or D for these guys?
I think we got to see these guys.
Okay. Also, not enough of them were featured in Injustice, the video game.
Oh, agreed. All right. So this next one, all of these people were featured in Injustice in one way or another. I really wanted to highlight how weird squads can get. So oh, Jesus Christ, Tori. So let's talk about a squad that does involve Batman, but maybe not the way you're thinking. So the Looney Tunes have adopted Justice League identities like a dozen times. Over the years, there have been toy products and prints made. And so to pick a version of the Looney Tunes and Justice League, I went with specifically the ones that made it onto the cover of Justice League number 46 for the official Looney Tunes Justice League variant. However, Kevo, you are bringing up one of my favorite childhood memories, those DC Looney Tunes McDonald's tie-ins were some of my favorite toys as a kid. Anybody who's ever had like a size growth thing definitely loved just clicking on a giant set of muscles and having that right away. It's interesting that both Bugs Bunny and Taz retain their character here.
Yeah.
But you can see that that's a lady pig as Wonder Woman, I guess.
She was someone that they used infrequently when they needed a female character up in here. Yes. And then they invented Lola, and they had an adult woman that was proportioned in a way that they found more pleasing, I suppose. And so they used her for everything. And not only that, but I guess, you know, Green Lantern became more well-known. So they were like, okay, well, let's bump someone else up.
Well, we just got yelled at. Evidently,
we just got yelled at. Oh, Petunia.
Petunia, yeah.
Yes, it is. Tori, it's just been that long, honestly. If you knew, why didn't you say something?
I didn't realize that it was like nobody knew.
I can't stand you. Turn your hat back around.
I love Wile E. Coyote as Cyborg. Just what a random moment in the world. There was that Looney Tunes in the early mid 2000s that Cyborg is referencing. That's Tunes Unleashed.
Yeah.
Or Looney Unleashed.
Cool. They were superheroes or something.
It's actually their far descendants were like superheroes way in the future, and it's their descendants. It's not Bugs Bunny. It's like Roger Rabbit. Oh no, that's a person. It's like Dennis D. Hare. So all right, I give this squad an A.
Lunatics.
That is.
Oh gosh, that's right.
Yeah.
Also, I just got to say, it's completely wild that we are just now seeing the Disney squad as various Marvel characters because of how long it takes after IP acquisition, but
yeah.
how long ago did we have all of this insane Warner Brothers synergy?
I had all of them except Petunia.
But A-class because they have crazy powers. That's it.
I give them a loving D. You know, like not the D of being terrible to enjoy, but the D of being terrible because they are not the Justice League and the Looney Tunes are not really a great squad. Some of them are actively trying to kill each other. None of them is a Blanche Devereaux. No, sorry, that's a lie. Lola Bunny is, of course, a Blanche Devereaux. I'm sorry I said that.
Porky Pig, if he were set loose in Fort Lauderdale, would be the Lola Bunny.
Are you saying his middle name is D?
Oh, I'm saying he's a dick pig. I'm saying he would be like
right,
the ultimate. Oh, got it. Yes. Porky D Pig. Yes.
Yeah.
Sure,
Okay.
idiot.
Porky the Pig.
Anyway, so Nico's saying A, I'm saying D.
I think you
guys...
convinced me that it's D because I was like A in a funny way, but if no one else is going to vote funny, yeah, this is terrible.
I'm going to vote funny. I'm going to say C. C for no.
For Lola serving.
For Lola awakening a lot of things for a lot of people growing up. That's why she deserves it. She deserves an A. But I put this at a C. It's not so horrendous, and like I'd avoid this squad at all costs that I'd put it at like a D or an F. But I put it at a C. Fairly average.
All right, I'm going to vote C too. My revised vote is C.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kevo, any big moves? Okay.
No argument. None for me. Sounds like we're all going for C.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to choose to think that Tasty Cake means Lola got a cupcake and just said it slightly backward. It's a cake cup.
Oh, I love cake cups.
I do too. Mostly because she got bee stings. But
She does.
now we are going to move our way out of the superhero world and make our way to what I like to think of as like the definite childhood squads, like your childhood crews. The squads that taught you what it was meant to, be like part of a team and join something, even if it felt unlikely. And I think no team better exemplifies that than the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And I am going to say this is an S class. This is, the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers invented the idea of live action social harmony. For teens in a way that ignored the real world. Do the people in the suits? Maybe not. But like the idea that there was truly a group of kids that like made me want to be a little bit better, that made me think like, Jason definitely had like an impact on me wanting to be a leader. Like I remember thinking Jason's cool, seeing that and wanting to emulate it. This is an S class. It gave us Hot Billy. It gave, because now he's hot. It gave us Hot Jason because he was hot then. It gave us Rocky. And generally, we wouldn't have Sweetwater, the groundbreaking musical movie, if it hadn't been for Power Rangers and Amy Jo Johnson.
You leave Sweetwater alone. I was obsessed with that movie for what turns out to be, I guess, just a few weeks of one summer because it aired really late in August. So many things like that. Wild. S. Sorry. S is for sorry.
Class. Come for me.
If you are going to,
Mr. F.
If you're going to vote for this team to be an S class, we will need to move the X-Men up. This is. I loved the Power Rangers, but they suffer from the same problem that the X-Men do in that, like, it's terrible. It's 90s terrible. There's so much that's bad about it.
That's what's great about it. Candyman even just pointed out it was like watching Saved by the Bell with Japanese ninja. Yes, that's what that you
makes it an S.
You nailed the plot. Congratulations.
Well, hold on. Let me say that this is my problem with the difference. In 1967. Cyclops is screaming racial slurs at their enemies as the reason they suck. Not you're attacking us, so here's some attacks at you. you're this racial slur. I just came to your country. I'm now going to knock you unconscious. Whereas the Power Rangers are like, we're only fighting you because you're invading our world. Why won't you stop attacking us? The actual reality is the X-Men had some real bullshit tendencies, and the Power Rangers never were teenagers with attitude. The X-Men were.
It was a joke, but it was a joke at the expense of the Ninja Turtles more than it was these kids. These kids volunteered to pick up garbage on the weekends, on the weekdays.
You kind of also just sort of made my argument for me. They weren't actually teenagers with attitude. That was what Zordon. That was what Zordon requested. That was what Zordon requested. He told Alpha 5 specifically.
Not in the actual show, which is something that we covered on X's for Show back in April. So I will drop the link to our coverage of Once and Always, which was the 30th anniversary special for Power Rangers. And they don't say in the actual show, teenagers with attitude.
So they only say it in X-Men movies as X-Men comic canon.
This is a B for me. So, Jonah, if you are on my side, we will somehow need to break this tie. But if you fall anywhere else, the S's have it.
Okay. I look at this squad. And we're going by the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, yes?
Yeah.
D6, yeah.
Okay. So I didn't really watch a lot of this, but I did watch some of it when Kevo and Nico were rewatching it. So I look at these kids and I'm like, yeah, I'd want to be friends with them. I'd want to be. They're always hanging out. They're always doing cool things. They talk to adults like they're children. It's very funny how dumb they all get towards like adults. Are like, no, we're doing this. It's a little.
The teachers are all like, yes, you're right. You have many muscles, teenage boy.
You're all civic leaders, and you know what's right. 3 of you are going to leave school early to join a world leadership program, because that's how good you all are of spirit.
It's
none of this is S tier.
I don't know if it's specifically S tier for me. I'd put it in A, but if that means it bumps up to S, then I guess that means they're S.
I mean, SSAB sounds to me like it's an S minus. I'm gonna make it an S. Hey, Bruno Campos.
Hi, Bruno.
And Tasty Cake. Yeah, I think, one of the things that we see a lot is when a cultural iteration winds up overtaking the actual thing, or like when 1 or 2 episodes of an early sitcom wind up defining the show, even though the show breaks free of those tropes. I do think that is why the film was so certain to make them teenagers with attitude.
Also, Johnny Young Bosch being like, I'm a frog.
So hot. Johnny Young Bosch,
him.
So cute back then.
I love him
just
so
don't know what he
much.
looks like now.
Now, yeah.
Yeah. All right, what we got next?
Well, is this S or A?
I put it in S.
Great. Okay. What's next? Next is the aforementioned TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, my first ever squad. And if you're asking me if this could be an S-class squad, it can't. And I'm going to say why it can't be an S-class squad. Because the only thing that it seemed to me that brought some of the episodes together was like, oh, but we're the only 4 like this. They're an A-class squad. And I bet if they hadn't been designed to be purposely edgy kids, I might have connected with it more. But like, they were meant to be too bitchy when I was not yet bitchy. And then like, once I was bitchy, I was like fighting about pizza and ninja skills. Like, that's not real bitchiness. If that's what I want, I'll watch the WB's Black Sash. Thank you. So
no, you won't. Don't even bring
I watched
up
every
Sash.
single episode of Black Sash.
Don't bring it up like that was some viable alternative to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
A-class.
For 1 season.
A-class. Corey Sevier. A-class.
Give them a break. They did not know that Matt Murdock also had an encounter with the ooze. Be kind to them. This is A. This is S to me. This is my. No, I love them so much.
No.
What did he say? What letter?
S. They are S to me.
A.
They're 100% S.
Oh, sure. Find me the female energy. Find me the female or gay energy, and I will give you that S.
Michelangelo had gay energy.
The ultimate party boy, the ultimate. I guess I'll let you blow me, but dude, if you touch me in the parking lot, I'll kill you.
I could say
Pan.
Leo's pretty gay. Leo, but can't act on it because
Yeah.
Leo's too busy being a leader.
Right.
Leo has too much responsibility.
Leading a bunch of boys around, that's pretty fucking gay if you ask me.
Well, then talk to Splinter, the gay rat man who's always wearing just a gi.
He is, in fact, the gay
boy.
elder. They all need it. They're all gay. They're also
gay. This is good.
6 of one, half dozen the other. Anyway,
No,
they're
there's
S to me. I think it's insane. And also, Nico, you pointed out the reason why they're an S to me and not to you, because I was a bitchy 4-year-old. And so, like, you know,
I
like
was a Care Bear.
I immediately was like, fuck you, bitch, I want pizza. And then, you know, by like 8, I'm like, but what about drugs? So, you know.
Same thing. In the early.
I just want to say, Bruno, you're right. I left this off. I'm a bad person. You're
Well,
totally
yeah,
right.
no,
I left this to Snow Scout.
We'll do a part 2.
You're
We'll do
just-
part
Yeah,
2.
there's so many more squads that we're going to have to get into.
Since you flashed it, now we have to read it. You can't just address it. Bruno asked, speaking of sailors, have you mentioned the ultimate color character type squad of the 90s? Pretty Soldier Sailor Moon, which Tori also chimed in that she would have wanted, but unfortunately, no, that was left off the list. There are others. You know, my gay 4-year-old self was not a bitch quite so much, and I was a fan of Fraggle Rock, and they did not make this list either. So please know that there's heartache all around.
Care Bears are gonna we're gonna do another one. Don't worry.
Jonah, you were not a bitchy 4-year-old. Don't even.
I was very sassy as a 4-year-old.
You were sassy. I knew you were going to say sassy, and that is not bitchy, and that is not the same thing TK is saying he was.
I was a horrifying nightmare.
I was sassy. I would just say very mean things to people. A lot. But the difference is, I didn't realize what I was saying was bad. I was often parroting things. I would also say things that were just a little crude or a little like reading people in a way that's like only a 4-year-old would. That being said, in the early aughts, there is a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle video game where you throughout the campaign, one of the moves that Michelangelo has, as he spins with his nunchucks, as he flutters down and he goes, eat feet, eat feet, eat feet. And it didn't inspire a foot fetish in me. But I do think it's the most hysterical thing in the entire world. And it made me really happy. And it's something I think about often. It's just Michelangelo saying eat feet while kicking enemies. So it's S tier.
Oh my God, I had so many X's that I guess than just are Michelangelo.
So we've got 2 votes for S tier.
Kevo.
Nico, what was yours?
I said A tier, but I mean, I'm not sad if it goes S.
Yeah, I'm also going to say A, but not sad if it goes S. So, you know,
Well,
I was more into it when I was a kid, and then I got older and kind of like with The Lion King, where I was really into it when I was in 2nd and 3rd grade. Now I'm like, why? But, you know, I don't hate it. There's fun things about it. I love the colors. Those are some very interesting colors. One of the first books I learned to read on was a Ninja Turtles book about pizza, and there was a recipe to make pizza in the back. So.
Give me a 5th Ninja Turtle after one of the many.
There's a female. Her name is Venus.
I was gonna say
yeah.
she should have a pink. It should be pink.
It
That'd
was
be
a
my
lighter
guess.
blue.
It's
Oh.
sky blue. Yeah.
I was gonna say name her after any of the female painters of the Renaissance.
No, she's named after the
You
Venus
would
de
think.
Milo.
I was
Well,
gonna
it's
say
at
name
the
her.
same naming convention.
Because
Yeah.
there aren't enough famous female artists
Yes.
from that time. We've erased them. So like they
Yeah.
had to go with the famous piece of art, and it was that or Mona Lisa.
Saperstein.
Mona Turtle.
I'm putting them at S only because I just think it is insane that the Power Rangers are up there and I can't.
And they've met before.
Yeah, they have.
There you
There was a
go.
crossover. But let me
Yeah,
tell you,
not those versions, but yeah.
this next one could bump everybody down a whole letter. When you think of this next crew inspires you to be cool, teaches you about different kinds of manipulating, lying, and controlling your friends and elders. When you, also, I just want to point out TMNT also would make a great contraction. Timint. But this next crew, fuck, if you did not want to be Zach Morris and also think he was the worst person in the world, then you were probably not me. I was just desperate to be AC Slater and those giant pecs. Saved by the Bell is the quintessential, we can't do 90210, so let's just do Saved by the Bell. I'm probably a bit more of a 90210 boy than a Saved by the Bell boy, but this is like, I honestly want to say, this is actually probably an S-class culturally. It's not for me. But what Saved by the Bell actually did, like adults watched Saved by the Bell. This was like a famous phenomenon. It was the most taped show in the world using like VCR plus codes and stuff to track it. Saved by the Bell was the most recorded show in the world at one point. And adults were really addicted to this show because it handled realistic things. Anybody who knows me knows my lifelong obsession with Mario Lopez. And the fact that I am a simp for Mario Lopez. That moment in Brooklyn Nine-Nine when he says "Preppy," my brain just shuts down
You sure
for a
about
second.
that, Preppy?
Fuck.
That threatening, flirtatious. You sure about that, Preppy?
But this is
Oh my god.
It's an A all the way. I love these characters. I think Lisa Turtle was my ultimate high school female crush. I don't think I was more in love with a young woman in my youth than Lisa Turtle, who was the coolest, smartest, funniest, most relaxed person I'd ever seen. And if you know me, you know I am literally not relaxed at all. No. So that Lisa Turtle always seemed so comfortable, like really imprinted on me. Kelly's so fucking hot to this day. I think that Tiffany Thiessen, not Tiffany Amber, but Tiffany Thiessen. I think she's still a knockout. I love that she loves her curves and shows them off beautifully. I love this cast more than I love the show, and that's part of it. So I have to say they're an A squad, but this really is a cultural S moment.
It's also the season for Jesse Spano. First and foremost, yesterday was 33 years since I'm so excited.
Was it really?
Yes.
Can I tell you what I think of more than I think of I'm so excited? I think of
what?
He's a god. He's a doctor.
Very fair. All of the Hot Sunday songs from that episode are absolute bangers. Nico will be covering them all in the weeks to come. Don't worry.
Also, Friends Forever. Me and my friends used to perform that in high school.
And then Donna Martin and Screech singing that a cappella love song. Anyway,
Violet, can you please call
Violet?
her by her
yes,
name?
thank you. No, her name is Donna Martin.
Every Violet Chachki took her name from Tori Spelling on Saved by the Bell. I
like that. I'll take that. That is a headcanon, and it's for real. Also, everybody was doing their or not everybody, specifically Ariana Grande was doing her Showgirls Halloween moment with Liz Gillies playing Gina Gershon, which was amazing. Anyway, that has nothing to do with this. They to me are an A squad.
A squad all the way.
Yeah.
S squad if you add Tori, but A squad.
No.
Hey, no. Actually,
hey, I put Tori up there. She's up in the
Thank you.
season 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I also very selfishly, obviously, put up the new Saved by the Bell because everyone should really watch it. It was amazing.
You really should watch it.
I'm going to say also thank you so much for making sure to include the third image. It was a great show. I also just
really was.
Leah Remini is my adult love of my
now,
life.
That's who it is. That's what really brings it up.
And she would have been on the new one as Stacey Carosi. She expressed interest.
Leah Remini is the hottest woman on earth. I swear to God, it's her and Marissa Tomei. There are no two hotter women on the planet Earth than those two women.
Is anybody passionately against us putting this on A, or can I load that up and keep us moving?
First of all, quick shout out. Hey, Timescales.
Hey, Timescales.
And yeah, Elizabeth Berkley.
And yeah, Elizabeth Berkley. Show girls from we've certainly covered that as thoroughly as we can.
What do we got here?
Love Doggy Chow.
A couple of showgirls.
My God, Kyle MacLachlan makes so many appearances in this list.
Wow,
he's very important.
He's going to be the real winner. Is what we're going to learn.
And that's again why we have to do a second round, is because we don't have the hot crew from Dune.
We don't have the hot crew from Hot in Cleveland. So
there you go. Anyway, I'm putting them at A. That we're moving on.
Okay, now I'm going to make an argument that this team goes at A, and I'm going to make the argument that this team goes at A only because I feel as though it is really unfair to respect this team fully without kind of being in a tricky situation. The Manhattan Clan from Gargoyles represents one of the most important moments in children's television animation history. It represents somebody being brave enough to say, kids are smart enough to read Sandman if you take out the sex. And this crew is so great. I love everything about this crew with one major exception. I genuinely feel there is not enough strong female representation in this crew, and it ultimately just makes it an old man club a lot of the time. There's two really cool women that are gargoyles. There's a third really cool woman who I love more than any of the gargoyles, but there's just something not quite right. There's never a strong thread of women through gargoyles for me. So they're an A-class team, but man, do I love this team more than I can say in this brief time. Kevo, this is your show.
You know, and I really agree with you in so many ways because it feels a lot like Star Wars, where it's like the women are just sort of sitting there a lot of the time, and sometimes you get focused, but like Xanatos' girlfriend Fox, Laura San Giacomo, gets focused, and it turns out she's getting focused because she has daddy issues.
Paris,
or mommy issues.
Home.
Oh my god, I'm coming home, America. So yeah, I really hear where you're coming from on that in terms of female representation, and it's hard for it to get better with between the new comics that are out, which is why I included the cover from the new comic series that is out. It's hard to make sure all the characters that should get focused in those with the revival that's coming up. Who knows what they're going to do, because we never know with these things. So yeah, I really can't myself, as much as I'm such a huge fan of this series. It feels like it is such a series that is constantly itself failed by the world, and so it just can't quite reach the S that it could be.
I only wish that I didn't feel like it was necessary for Goliath to be played by a black man. I think because Keith David, it's a tradition almost. But Joe, what's his giant muscles that just separated from
Manganello?
Thank you. Would be so incredible Goliath.
I don't think that it's so necessary that a black man. I would like to see the Gargoyles cast. It should be more diverse than it actually is. I mean, that's the thing. This is a really good example. Keith David, just at the time, was one of the best people you could have hired for the role.
While we're at it, the gentleman from Loki, whose name I always say incorrectly, which makes me so sad.
Kike Kwan?
Thank you. Would make an incredible, very human Lexington.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, the point I was getting to was that despite the fact that Keith David is a black man and not enough black men in media still, let alone back then, I would kind of split the difference and let it go for Goliath specifically in favor of many amazing actors, including ones that you named who would be really fantastic as the other gargoyles. But I think that Joe Manganiello is a great example of somebody who has that booming voice and presence that you actually need for Goliath. And that's why I think it's insane that you say that they took the sex from Sandman out of Gargoyles. You don't get tits like that on Fox children's television and say you took the sex out.
Yeah.
I agree. Oh, and then I just want to say, what's his name that I love from Breaking Bad for Hudson?
Giancarlo?
No, Bryan Cranston.
Oh.
Hudson.
Oh, Bryan Cranston. I thought you were going to say Mike Ehrmantraut, which I would have been fine with, and I was going to say Bryan Cranston. But yeah,
Mike Ehrmantraut
Cranston,
for my Dream OnlyFans account, maybe. But
Bryan Cranston as Hudson would be amazing, and he would completely give himself over to something like that. His Zordon was fantastic.
I thought his Zordon was incredible.
Giancarlo Esposito for David Xanatos.
Oh my God, that would be truly chilling.
There you go.
Ooh,
So,
yeah.
I'm completely shocked. I feel like I'm seeing a whole new side of Nico this episode, and it's great when you can learn things about people you love so much. I was ready to be like, I think they're kind of an A squad, but since you're all saying S, I'll go with S. So very surprised that it's a pretty easy A on this one. Of course, I can totally understand the reasons why it is an A and not an S, but man, are they like ready tomorrow to shake this up just a little bit, and it would be absolutely an S tier thing. Also, just their wings are little capes. Get the fuck out of my house.
What's
Even
her
the
name?
little one, yeah.
What's her name from Guardians of the Galaxy, and also Hawkeye's wife, and also Freaks and Geeks?
Linda
and all
Cardellini, yeah.
She
Yeah.
should play Bronx.
Get out. Oh, no, you haven't gone yet. I have to show
No,
you.
I
Go
kind
ahead.
of like
Guardians of the
that.
Galaxy?
She's no, she's
She was the otter.
she's the
Yeah,
other.
she's the otter.
Oh, she was
Yeah,
Layla.
yeah.
Jonah. Good.
If Vin Diesel can play Groot, Linda Cardellini can play Bronx.
I'm not saying she can.
My dog looks exactly like a Pitbull version of Bronx, and I can't unsee it in these images.
I really thought you were gonna say my dog looks like
Linda Cardellini.
No,
Linda
my
Cardellini
dog
or
is
Vin
very
Diesel.
handsome, but Linda Cardellini is a very beautiful woman, and my dog cannot hold a candle to her beauty. No.
She's
All right.
also Velma.
These guys went in A. What do we got next?
Okay, so the next squad is another one where I kind of feel like I was being a little bit silly, but the more I dove into it, guys, I'm going to be really honest with you.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Smurf Cannon
No!
fucks. Holy shit. Smurf Cannon fucks so hard. And then there was a third Smurf movie, and it was evidently so bad they lost the rights after it.
My vote for
Cast
Smurfs
on
is
that.
D. I am not moving.
Listen, the Smurfs fuck so hard.
Smurfs
So
is a D.
hard.
What is everybody else's vote? I
But-
do not want to talk about Smurfs for very
I'm
long.
going to say they are C class. And here's why I only give the Smurfs a C.
This is so weird.
It's so
um,
weird.
Well, no, and then there's like whole things where
There
there's
you go.
there's
All
other
of it.
cities.
You're
where
weird too, buddy. You're not off the hook, TK. This is
Anyway,
all
That's
very
fine.
weird.
I just don't want to talk about the Smurfs.
Anyway, I almost put the Snorks on the list because I'm super invested in I'm super into Snork.
We can do that for round 2 of the squad tiers.
I love
Anyway,
the Snorks. They have different numbers of blowholes. I love Snorks. But so I really gave myself to reading about the Smurfs because I make so many Gargamel references.
You do.
I just want to say that there's like lost Smurf villages where they do things like in the opposite order, but like they still believe in the same identities, and like I don't know. I think the Smurfs are really cool. They're just not a cool squad. They're like a cool universe. So C.
I would now like to know why Smurfs make TK so mad.
Yeah, seriously, I've never seen you so desperate to break up with me. Holy shit.
Where did this come from? Where did
they're just-
Gargamel...
they are not
Thank
anything. They have never been particularly exciting or interesting. They're just blue, and they have one woman, and that's insane biologically.
She is biologically the first Smurf.
Well, I don't believe they
Mitochondrial
reproduce-
Smurf Eve.
Yeah, I don't believe they reproduce sexually. I believe they are some kind of like mushroom or fungus.
Yes,
So-
which would be fucking banging if it was a psychedelic show, but it is
But that's
for
Gem.
yes,
and HR Puffin stuff.
yes.
Ooh.
The Smurfs is not. It's not.
Yes, Bruno, you completely understand. The mushroom houses are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
The mushroom
I have
houses
to
are
say,
amazing,
Super Mario
but
Brothers 3.
Okay, but
I was
what
gonna
does that have to do
say-
with anything about the squad?
yeah, exactly.
Jonah, I would love to
What
know what
does this
you
mean?
have to add to the conversation of Smurfs when you,
Tori-
my friend, are 3 apples high.
Tori, I adore you because I think we established this earlier today when I was talking about being a very bitchy 4-year-old. This is where we established that TK grew critical thinking 2 years before Devo and Nico. That is correct.
Actually, the truth is, I actually think Gargamel is an incredible villain. That's actually the whole thing. I think he actually represents like a almost Shakespearean level, like a Falstaff kind of like prototype for understanding 1980s villainy in low stakes situations. He actually could import really easily to a sitcom where there's no supernatural elements. I just genuinely am kind of obsessed with making Gargamel references because he represents a villain who can never truly be threatening. And that's my whole reason for liking the Smurfs. I just think Gargamel is a really fascinating villain, and I think Hank Azaria is really handsome.
Okay, well, C or D, people, what are we doing here?
So, Kevo, how do you Smurf? Do you Smurf? Do you snork? Do you snort?
I was never a big Smurfson. I never really Smurf nah. So I guess I'm just gonna go with the crowd.
C or D?
C, because I'm nice.
So, Jonah, you had a lot of supporting TK's hot takes. It was like hot cross buns up in that piece, right? So talk to me. Why are you so anti-Smurf, and where do you have them land?
Well, for one, Smurf. I'm going to Smurf this Smurf. The Smurfs.
That's the funniest you've ever been, in my opinion. Actually, like really seriously, that's the funniest you've ever been in my entire life.
Isn't Smurf just the Philly equivalent of John?
Yes,
Honestly,
Smurf
yes.
is just Philly John. Yes,
Smurfs they're just not interesting. I'm looking at the squad and I'm like, do I want to be Smurf? They're all named Smurf. This is too much for me. I'm
you'd
gonna
be
get
engineering Smurf.
But would I fuck a Smurf?
No.
Oh no, Papa Smurf! I would fuck the shit out of Papa Smurf. Do you see him?
Only sometimes.
That dude is
People-
so fucking hot.
Is it a C or a D?
It's a
It's
C.
a D.
At some point, you guys are going to have to vote somebody a D, and we've got some ones that are going to make that very difficult. So,
Yeah, how's the board looking? Hold on.
Oh no, the board's looking amazing. I want to point out that part of
Okay,
our,
not bad.
Yeah, part of our thing here has kept them pretty even, and some of the categories later are more terrible.
it's true.
Let's talk about the absolute worst. So Tasty Cake, I just want to say, Papa Smurf always says, like, that actually is a hallmark, I think, of the identity of a lot of children's television from the 80s. There's a general sense of, like, almost preachiness, where, like, David the Gnome had a lesson to teach you at the end of the episode. And not to make it real world, but Sesame Street has actually said that for their next season, starting in 2025, they're going to get rid of the news magazine format, and instead of telling kids the lesson, they're going to have the lesson be part of a plot, and there's only going to be 2 segments per episode. So a lot of what we're seeing today is the stuff that we're talking about from back then, just it's not holding up the same way. So we are seeing a major change in the sort of children's television that we're talking about, which maybe is why TK is a little bit angrier, a little bit older, and Jonah's like, no opinion, a little bit later, because some of this stuff really is from a very magical sweet spot that Kevo has talked about extensively. The birth of Nickelodeon was almost designed for 86 to 92 births. And that is a huge part of the foundation of most people in that age range now. So worth discussing. Okay, next team. The next squad is my absolute favorite squad of all time. It's hard for me to talk about how much I love Dorothy's Bornak.
Who here is one of Nico's partners? Who here has fallen asleep to the sounds of bum 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 bum? That is correct, folks. The next squad is a golden squad.
Legitimately, I pinned this as this will be the first and possibly only S tier.
All right.
I get that.
I want to say that something that needs to be discussed when you're talking about the Golden Girls as the greatest squad of all time, which it is, and you literally are wrong if you think otherwise. I literally never say that on air, but the Golden Girls is the greatest squad in history. And I want to say why. It actually has to do with like Dante's Inferno. And Susan Harris is actually like a super genius of creation. And one of the things that she sought to do with a lot of her 70s and 80s television work, she also created soap. She sought to create characters that represented major moments in fiction and sort of like general fiction throughout time. It's not that Blanche is a slut. Blanche represents the fictional harlot. It's not that Dorothy is a wise old woman. She represents the leader, the Moki Fraggle, if you will. It's not that Rose is the village idiot. She represents naivete. And so when you partner in Sophia, who represents truly an 80s ideal of a transformed older person, oh man, Bruno, that is exactly the right answer. G. And I do see Tasty Cake saying S tier Golden Palace, but I'm going to say for a minute that this is part of why I did this whole episode. If you don't think Golden Palace is incredible, Golden Palace is just more Golden Girls. And I want to say that part of what makes Golden Palace so incredible is seeing Rose take Dorothy's role. It's not that these four women represent individual characters. It's that they represent roles that allow our society to continue. I'm not even being silly. They represent the forms that matriarchy takes. And I just can't say enough about how these women got me through the hardest times of my life. They are something beyond anything else. And Don Cheadle playing volleyball in a pair of swim trunks is one of the sexiest things I have ever seen.
Number one.
Wait, I had grabbed something real quick. I only want to correct one thing that you
guys
said.
Talking. Headphones came out.
Dorothy's not the Moki. Rose is the Moki. Dorothy is Gobo Fraggle.
Okay, I just think she looks like Moki Fraggle.
She also looks like Gobo Fraggle. So that's part of where I'm like, no, that's who she is.
Fair. You totally know the Fraggle so much better. So,
Jonah.
So, number one, my favorite joke of all time truly is, you mean he's addicted to workahol?
Workahol? I knew God, you're the funniest kid.
And, well, my second favorite joke of all time is, I don't think wowie wow 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 is a medical term. That's number two. Number three, if I was a bitter, mean old lady who didn't really kind of like my friends but lived with them and loved them, I'd absolutely want to be part of this crew. And if I was just me, and these were my grandma, well, one of them was my grandma, or they all just adopted me, and I'm just all their grandson at this point, I would be going over their house every single Saturday.
You would be David, Blanche's grandson.
In that season 1 episode, yeah.
In episode 6, on Golden Girls.
Who would then appear on Parker Lewis Can't Lose.
Which is, of course, the TV adaptation of Ferris Bueller that was more successful than the TV adaptation of Ferris Bueller.
Bueller.
Good job, pal.
You have any kisses for Diddy? Oh, so they're that kind of family.
Speaking of that kind of family, TK, talk to me. How do you feel about the Golden Girls? I mean,
I started this episode explaining our tier maker process, saying that this was going to be the S tier. I have nothing more to say on the matter, except I do think that if these guys are S tier, everybody should shift down.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay.
I really do think that they are S tier in that way of like I said, it's just like they are definitively archetypal. And I don't think that the Power Rangers are as good as the Golden Girls. So it's weird that they're both in the S tier in the S class, but that's okay. They are very clearly S tier to me, and I think there's like no debate in it.
Well, I want to just say to that,
yeah,
both Drive and Shakespeare in Love and The Maltese Falcon won Best Picture, but I do not think those three films go in this. I should have gone with Born on the 4th of July. I do not think all three films. I should have gone with Born on the 4th of July.
All right, your point is done, and I would
Thank
like
you.
us to move to the next category.
Oh, no, you don't want us to do that.
No, I truly don't, but I do know
Oh.
we have a limited amount of time because we all have to be places after 7 o'clock today.
Will and Grace. I have this up as willful and graceless. I actually give this an A tier. I love
Oh
Will
my
and Grace,
God.
and I think this team is
You're
really
killing
great.
him.
They really represent the same things as the Golden Girls, just with a few more Y chromosomes, and even then, it's questionable. That said, the most defining moment of my sexuality ever is Eric McCormick running out in a pair of boxer briefs.
Oh, and I thought it was going to be a Henry Connick Jr. moment.
Harry Connick Jr. should be singing, not acting, always.
Well, I don't think what he was doing on that show would be described as acting. So
I think that's fair.
so much the better. This is D for me. Eric McCormick is a terrible actor. Sean Hayes is a terribler actor. Deborah Messing. Deborah Messing is like
that is
the
Dorothy. That is Dorothy's Bornak's beautiful daughter. You watch what you say.
I know she's
about
like
Grace
the queen
Adler.
of comedy, but she's not funny. It's a weird thing. Like she is a top tier woman in comedy, but she is so infrequently gross.
Beauty on the page.
It's not even her fault. Like I've seen her be funny in other stuff, and I've seen her be funny on Will and Grace, but she is frequently not funny on Will and Grace. And it was such a weird understanding of the fag hag role, which just left so much on the table that could have been funnier. So basically, it all comes down to Karen. Karen is an S tier anti-hero.
Karen is the worst part of the show.
Oh my God, you just couldn't be more wrong. Karen is the best part of the show. They're not a squad. They're barely friends. This is a D squad for me, and that's all I'd say about that.
D's not the floor, right?
D is the floor, which we have yet to hit. And like I said, you
I
guys,
thought there was E and F.
no,
there was
it's
lower.
it's
No, there's
5S. Thank you, Kevo.
No. This group always seemed to disappoint in the end.
Yes.
When it came back, we gave it a chance in its revival. Season 1 was weak but interesting. Season 2 was really interesting, had some high points, and ended on a really high note for us.
It had
And
the
then
best
season
character in the history of Will and Grace.
Yeah, and another character who wasn't the best character in the history of Will and Grace, but was an interesting character, and certainly more
handsome.
interesting than the character who had just married Jack, who was one of the worst characters ever introduced on Will and Grace.
Bar none.
But then they undid everything from the end of season 2. Season 3 was abysmal,
Oh my God.
and then it
unwatchable.
ended.
Yeah.
So it was exhausting. They're exhausting. They always disappoint, and I wish they didn't, but they do. So there we are.
But nearly every one of them has been in a Tony-nominated Broadway show. The only one who has not is Deborah Messing.
Hi, Deborah.
Oh, she could any day. If she stepped
Jojo,
in-
you got strong feelings here?
No, I have not. I've literally seen one episode of Will and Grace. So I have to defer to all of you on this.
The best episode of Will and Grace, by the way, if you do want to see why I'm giving it an A class, is Das Boob. There is very
No.
little as funny.
We watched a Christmas episode.
Everybody
Oh, I'm
trying
sure.
to cover the bursting boobs in the living room is one of the funniest things. No, the bursting boobs are in the art gallery. Just touching each other's boobs is in the living room, and it's amazing.
No, bra.
I will say half of my graduate career would not have been possible without Max Muchnick, without whom there would be no Will and Grace. But even
Thank you,
still,
Comet Productions.
this is going in D, and something has to, Nico. Something
Fine.
has to.
Fine.
And I've got one other one that I'm certain should be there, and we'll get there in a second.
Other A class. I'm sorry, S class. I'm not even going to have this conversation. I'm literally not willing to discuss this. This is an
I
S
can't believe
class.
you're surprised by this.
I am literally, guys, if the Sex and the City girls don't wind up in S class, I'm literally not going to finish the episode. I will literally just shut the fucking show down. Carrie Bradshaw is the most important thing that ever happened to me in my life.
The greatest villain in the history of television.
You mean Kim Cattrall?
What is the matter with you?
Samantha is the only thing I don't need about Sex and the City, and I am just thrilled she's not in the spinoff. I only wish there were more seasons of the new show, so Samantha's weird face from Porky's didn't have to be in it.
Mannequin!
I am telling you right now, this is an S-class. This is an S-class squad, and every one of these women is a goddess, and could only be made better if they were played by the cast of Living Single.
Smurf should have been in D, but apparently we got outvoted and outmaneuvered.
No, I completely agree. Smurf should have been in D. Nico,
just call this what it is. Just say S-class already. Because the most beautiful woman in the entire universe ever born, ever to live, the most beautiful woman ever to live, is right on that poster.
I love Sex and the City a lot, and I will say
I'm gonna lose my shit on YouTube.
This is a legit squad. This is real squad shit. Even without Kim Cattrall and Just Like That, the fact that I would say the squad remains. Kim Cattrall's just away, Samantha's away for work. Crossing the desert like Moses before them.
Put that away.
I love them. No, this is a legit squad. They took care of each other. They brunched on the regular. Samantha got that fucking thing out of Carrie's vagina that time.
Hey,
a real.
This show has Willem, so
there you go. There you go. Amazing guest stars throughout. This and Friends, the iconography of the New York that does not exist, that you can't afford because it's not real. Really important.
You mean Downtown WeHo? Got it. Okay.
I feel like the S tier in this particular grouping has gotten a little not where I think it should be, but I am okay with them being S tier. I do really love. I ultimately I think they are A. I even, there are times factoring in and Just Like That gets us to B territory, but like I'm okay with them being S because they are post Golden Girls. I mean, they're like the same age when the show starts that the Golden Girls are supposed to be.
Yes. I mean, also, if I can just say the single greatest moment in television history, bar none, and Kevo will tell you that I maintain this every single day of my life. The best moment I've ever seen in television, tied, I guess, with Bang from Desperate Housewives, is Aiden screaming, "You broke my heart." It changed my life.
You did that a lot when we first got together.
It changed my life as a writer.
So I have a question.
Like Ken.
Yeah.
That's funny because I just leave Post-its around the house that say, I'm sorry, don't hate me.
Oh my God, that's Kevo's favorite joke in the world. He just fucked me like a jackrabbit the whole time.
Jonah, you have...
When are we going to talk about the fifth member? The city.
The city.
The city.
You're the fifth bitch at this table.
Okay.
Yeah, you are.
No. SS, Kevo, you've seen every episode of this. And Kevo, so you guys don't understand. Me sobbing uncontrollably on the bed, mouthing every line Miranda says for 6 seasons, even though I am a Carrie. I mean, Kevo literally having to hold me when she and Big break up after the...
You're a Carrie, so you love the Miranda. You're Schmidt, so you love Nick. You're not Nick. You love Nick, so you're Schmidt. I get it. I'm the Miranda. I get it. Thanks.
Oh my God, you're so my Miranda.
So,
you literally you held me while I sobbed. How do you feel about this show?
You guys, so the big letters of this logo, you guys keep giving this the S. I'm going to give this the C. This C.
Yes, Kevo, I'm so proud of you.
These women are toxic.
Yep.
Nico, how long has And Just Like That been on television?
I won't watch it because it's problematic and they're probably going to seem horrible.
They actually really don't. It's not problematic. The biggest problem with the show is not a thing that you will have any trouble with, and it's Sarah Ramirez.
Sarah.
Que Sarah. When was the last time you watched the original?
I know better. I'm not going back.
A lot of it holds up.
For me.
Kevo, the real question is, are you allowing this to go to S, or are we averaging it out to A?
Well, we also need JoJo's vote. Don't forget.
It's Roman rule, man. You and please also take in your cultural perception. Don't completely give your vote away. It's an important part of it, what you feel from the outside.
So I don't know a lot about Sex in the City, really much at all. The only thing I really know is the one movie where they go to Mexico and they're like, don't drink the water, and they're like taking a shower, and she drinks the water not realizing it, and she gets sick. That is literally my entire knowledge of Sex in the City. Oh, and the fact that Willem was on. Outside of that, I don't know. If I'm in this universe, I really kind of want to be friends with them. They seem a little elitist. They seem a little classist. They seem a little. That's what I'm just saying. They seem like.
You wouldn't want to be one of the cool kids?
They don't seem cool. They just seem mean.
Oh my God! Fine, A class. Move on.
All right, done and done.
But if you want to be that bitch, I could see wanting to be friends with them.
Fine.
They're not great to their gay friends, so you know. And their gay friends aren't great to them, so it's a little tit for tat. What do we got next, Nico?
Equal and opposite pole. As
exactly.
Always, a balance.
All right. Anybody who doesn't vote S class for this, you're racist.
Not everything can be S class.
No, it's the living single women.
I really almost put a note when we were putting this up, being like, living single is going to throw this whole thing off.
I remember watching Living Single as a kid because Living Single's commercials were sort of like, do other sitcoms not work for you? I'm sorry, we're boring you, Jonah. I'm kidding, Dave. I totally
You saw the script. No one made you come here.
So Living Single, I remember the commercials were sort of like, do other shows not make you laugh? Watch Living Single. And it was that good. I was just looking for some UNITY. And
that's for unity.
I got it. I think ultimately why I watched the show was I truly recognized one of the actresses from Facts of Life. And it was a draw for me that I could see a young person grow up to an adult. And I loved Queen Latifah. Dana Owens has really cemented herself as a powerhouse of the media industry in multiple forms. This is an S because it represented something Black women had never gotten to be before, which was powerful, successful, strong, intelligent, dynamic. They were allowed to be everything a white man was on Living Single. And these four women did it without any fear. And that for me is an S-class cast. Now, admittedly, I have not watched the whole of Living Single in like a decade. So I can't really, or 20 years, Jesus. So I can't really, but this is at least an S-class crew, even if they occasionally performed as A-class on the sitcom.
My knowledge of Living Single is the name of the magazine was Flava, and Keisha should not have gone to that party. Keisha should not have gone to that party alone. That's all I know about the show.
Khadijah was the strongest, smartest woman in the entire world. She was just Black Dorothy. It was amazing.
These look like good time gals.
They were strong and they had each other's backs. There was nothing more important on the show Living Single than each of these women would do anything for the other. It was amazing.
See, what was the little one's name?
Max?
Yeah, no. Yeah, maybe.
Wait, no. Yeah, Max. There was Khadijah, Regina, Sinclair, and Max.
Regina.
Oh, yeah, Regina.
No,
Regina.
I was thinking Regina. I loved Max. Max was the Chandler. Go figure. Because what's his name was too vain. Kyle was too vain to be the Chandler.
The men don't count.
Yeah, the men don't count. Exactly.
All right, TK, you're one of the only people I know who, in a 90s kind of world, was glad you got your girls. I mean, you kept your head up, right? So That's the theme song. So, DK, how do you feel about living single?
You fucking dummy. I think I do. I'm a little stumped because again, like the S tier for this particular group has gotten a little muddied. I would feel really differently about putting them up there if some of these other ones weren't in the places they were in. Looking at this list, there is one more group that I want to see in the S tier. One more that I think Nico's going to insist be on the S tier, though I don't think they should be. So I'm going to say that because...
A?
What's that?
Are you giving them an A?
No, I'm giving them the S.
Okay, I appreciate that. I
think
would respect it either way.
I think being a group of black women in the 90s representing... being anybody representing anybody on a sitcom was kind of difficult, but the traditional wisdom is like there's no audience for black sitcoms, and then kind of that got proven wrong over and over again. But Living Single was one of the really early ones that did that, and to be out on the limb proving not just that there is room for a black sitcom, but a sitcom for black women specifically, or starring black women, that's centered on black women.
It was for women. The experiences these women had were not sitcom experiences aimed at men.
But I think ultimately the point is sitcoms are for everybody. You should be watching sitcoms that don't represent your life.
Oh, please, yes.
Because it's the only way you can even begin, or it's not the only way, but it is a way to begin to learn something. If you are in a little echo chamber bubble of, white East Coast people, a sitcom is a really good way to just see people that don't look like you. And they were kind of the only ones doing it at the time. So they get S tier from me, but now I'm going to fight really hard against a couple of the others that I know are coming up that you're like, these have to be S tier.
Now, Kevo, Jonah, do either of you weigh in anything other than S for the bravery, or do you guys feel that there's some component that maybe brings it down a little bit?
No, from what you're saying, these are four strong women who love each other very much and are tight-knit.
Well, Regina is maybe defined by her insecurities, but we'll call her strong.
I mean, that's an adjective that's more important to me when it comes to, ranking squads. When there's a really tight bond and they're really close and they're, willing to do whatever they need to because they're family, that's the sign of a good squad. And ultimately, regardless of whatever, I think it should be an S. I don't unless you would, as people who are more knowledgeable about the show, these characters and the stories they go through, is there something that would bring them down in terms of their squadliness?
All right. I love that. Kevo, do you have any vote other than unless someone's got something, it's an S?
No, I'm down. My only vote is that I want to rewatch this soon.
Well,
you got to curate the best episodes, but yes.
Speaking of things you got to curate the best episodes of that I just can't give an S to. As much as I love Golden Girls now, I equally loved Designing Women as a child. And God, it's tough because my favorite iteration of Designing Women is Impossible. There's Replacement Women, and I know Golden Girls doesn't have Replacement Women, but both Delta Burke and Jean Smart, God's gift to comedy, they both leave in the fifth season, leaving 6 and 7 to be Jan Hooks, Julia Duffy, and my favorite, I can't think of her name, how embarrassing, BJ Poteet. But if I could, I would love a season that has both BJ and Jean Smart. So I just can't have the 4 women I want. So I kind of can't ever give Designing Women an S class. I think, unfortunately, due to some of the elements that they protect and uphold as elements of their society that should never be changed. Even though Linda Bloodsworth Thomas was an absolute liberal nightmare who terrorized Dixie Carter, it's kind of got to be a C class. This was not designed for everybody. And so many of the lessons aren't white people kind for teaching you. Mm-hmm. While this show means everything to me, and so many of the Big Hoss and Little Falsey makes me laugh till I literally piss my bed, I have to give this a C class, unfortunately.
Oh, wow. All the way to C, huh?
It is so exclusively the same white woman over and over again. It's just shades of her. It's shades of her after she abandoned religion. It's shades of her after she embraced politics. It's shades of her after she became a mother. But it is all the same Southern white woman expressed in 4 different beautiful ways. And that's just not the same thing as an S-class team.
I expected you to go a little higher, but I am down with about a C for them. I mean, it's unfortunate because, like, there's so many iconic moments from designing women. Every gay, especially now, because it's been done a couple times, but every gay now knows the lights went out in Georgia speech. And it's fantastic. If you are a little gay boy watching this right now who doesn't know,
my speech was, I would like to thank you, Ray Dawn. Just for the record, mine was never the night the lights went out in Georgia.
No.
I know. I hear you.
I would like to thank you, Ray Dawn.
And you know, little gay boy watching this, Ray Dawn was a very good one. Night the lights went out in Georgia, and then the you'd all get STIs when the president when the president from Scandal has HIV.
Yeah, it's killing all the right people.
Yes, yeah. So those are the 3 great ones. Go watch that, little gay boy, and then
also, could you please listen to when she sings "How Great Thou Art," because it's literally one of the greatest performances of "How Great Thou Art" in television history.
C.
Dixie Carter's a classically trained opera singer, and I just think that should be mentioned.
Not anymore.
I don't even have a C in my heart.
Wow, Kevo. Okay, Jonah. No, I think he's saying D.
That's what I'm saying. Are you a D on this one, Kevo?
Someone's got to give D's.
All right.
Okay.
Jonah, how do you feel about some antebellum women?
Nothing. There's I don't know a lot about this show. I obviously know that Knights what blah 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 blah. I'm not quoting it. Pitch them to me. What makes them a squad? How do they treat one another? Are they kind?
They are a little sharp with one another, but I will say that Suzanne got Dutch elm's disease, which is a disease that only Dutch elm trees can get.
They are coworkers. They
all work at Sugar Baker's design firm.
Yeah, it's
okay, so nepotism. D.
Oh my God.
Well, then I think we gotta give that one a D. And part of what's happened is we've had such a great time talking about this, guys. We got to make a vote. Do we want to keep going and cut it and then save some of these for part 2 and do part 2 of a shorter nature? Or do we want to make this part 1 of 2 and continue this later on?
We got time. I want to crank these out. We just got to go a little faster.
All right. Well, then let's go a little faster. Women of Wisteria. Let's do it.
Hitting up on that treadmill.
The Women of Wisteria for me are an A. They are not an S, and the problem is Susan Meyer is the most horrible person in the world, and I will never get over how much I fucking hate Susan Meyer. The only thing I truly love about season 8 of Desperate Housewives altogether is that somebody kills Mike, and so he gets away from Susan. That's it. The rest of season 8 of Desperate Housewives can fuck itself to death, except for that final scene. The Women of Wisteria are the A class in the history of A classes, but they are the goddamn highest level A class you can possibly be.
It's so unfortunate that only 2 of the main Women of Wisteria Lane are actually enjoyable, because I also do not like Lynette. Lynette is
such a bummer.
Lynette just tortures Tom.
Hot Tom.
Poor Doug, and he was gay in another life.
D.
I could even see the argument of B. You look at them as a squad, and I think they cover for one another, and they are kind of there, but they're also not the warmest to one another. They're also not the kindest. They're really... there is a lot of infighting between them. There is a lot of conflict and strife, and I don't want to be a part of that. I'm not moving to Wisteria Lane. Something bad always happens. So no, I give them a B even.
They're a B for me, and that's being super generous.
Kevo, how do you feel about the dirtiest women in suburbia?
I said D.
Oh, Jesus, you were really
Oh
serious.
wow, you
about
meant to.
the
I
C.
really, yeah. I thought, wow, okay.
All right, I guess
Um,
that
And I'll
averages
say
a B.
C.
It averages a B.
I'm gonna average it to B. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna take a controversial stance here. I think the Friends crew has to get an A. I wish I could give them an S. And I could if one of them was named like Parikh Bing, and if one of them was named like Aboyo Geller or something.
Yeah.
But the whiteness actually does define them in a way that is hard to get around. The straightness does define them in a way that is hard to get around. If there could have been a bit more of that idea of like a Palestinian friend or even like a fucking French friend who happened to be black and French. Anything but the fucking cornbread is a little too hard for me. But A class because they are a definitive crew.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's really funny because if that show got made, like even started a year later, I think the dial would have changed on some stuff. It was really the last bastion of like, no, it's just fine if everybody's white and straight. Like that's how everybody is. So why would we do anything different? NBC, the flagship network of the broadcast system, it's just that's for white people.
Must see
TV.
except Cosby.
But like, of course, this is everybody's squad. I mean, this billions of people have seen this, and even though most of those billions are not white, they still love Friends. Like there's still a degree to which like it's the idea. Friends should have been better. Marta Kaufman and what's the other dude's name? Should have done better.
Crane.
David Crane, thank you.
They have spent the last 10 years
they know
crying that.
Yeah, they know. But like they did great for what we just all accepted at the time. So yeah, I'm down with A.
You know, I was silly and slappy about my grade for the Desperate Housewives being D.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, part of it was because that whole final season arc is them covering up a murder together because they're stuck together. They're stuck together. And the whole point of the series finale is once they move away, they never come all together again. But I don't feel like that's true of the Friends squad. And not even just because Ross and Monica are related. I think even with the diaspora, I think even with us having watched Joey and them never mentioning the Friends, I think it's just because he visits and doesn't talk about it.
Yeah, he doesn't want to make his LA friends all sad about it.
No.
Now, TK already voted, right? But I kind of expected TK would give these guys a D. So that's where I'm a little bit thrown off. Jonah, for you, is the Friends crew an A, a B? Where do you land with Friends? I know that's not something you connected to as directly outside of like Nick at Night.
Yeah, Friends. This is the one I would probably say A, specifically for the cultural reasoning of if given the opportunity, 90% of people probably would want to be part of that friend group. Friends glorified the idea of what it means to be in your late 20s and your early 30s living near your friends. It's not like that. It's not that fun. It's not that glamorous.
Guys, sometimes when my friends who live in town are like, hey, you want to hang out? I'm like, fucking leave me alone.
But they are a crew of people that is not only beloved, but like that is the group of people want to be friends with. Like the other patrons of that coffee shop are probably jealous of how close they are.
Gunther sure was.
Sign.
All right, now let's talk about a group that I wish I could give S. I wish I could give A, but I have to give it a B. The TGS staff sucks so hard. They suck so bad. They're not a squad. I don't think Liz Lemon would ever call those people if she didn't work with them. Jenna definitely wouldn't. Kenneth is actually an ancient mole person. And, Jack literally thinks he is financially better than these people. I love the TGS crew, but I actually had like 9 people on this list. And when I looked it up, only 5 people were regulars the whole show. And for that reason, that is considered the TGS crew. And I gotta say, for me, this crew kind of gets a B. I wish I could give them an A, but the biggest problem with the TGS staff is they just seek to make Liz's life more horrible till it breaks her. And then I'm bummed.
Listen, 5. 10 is talking.
I really agree. And while I love the fairy tale ending that we are sold, where we're told, yeah, they do stay friends, and Tracy finds his dad finally, and all of the beautiful things were sold by that series finale. I
Spoiler.
enjoy them. I enjoy them. It's a joke. I enjoy them, for what they are. But like realistically, everything Nico is saying is true. These people torture each other, and it's not a delight. It is it's going to kill her one day.
For that reason, I would even say they're a D squad. They're not kind to one another. They're not nice to one another. They actively do harm one another.
Jenna Jenna just happens to be a 100 A plus S plus star. Everybody else,
Character, yeah.
I mean, here's the thing though. They are a squad. I'm shocked that you even went with B, but I actually think B kind of works because when they are all functioning together, they are amazing and they do improve each other's lives for all the ways that they make each other crazy. Liz and Jenna are best friends, and despite the fact that Jenna makes life really difficult for Liz, they have roots together. They come up in comedy and they are best friends.
Liz is no cakewalk either.
Liz is no cakewalk either. Jack and Liz become best friends, mentor and mentee. Jack and Tracy have a friendship. Jack and Jenna have a friendship. Jack and Kenneth have a friendship. Kenneth, they all are connected. I only like
Tracy and Jenna being
solvers the problem. They all are connected, and they never really cohere as a full group of 5, but they are a squad. I love B for them because they do great things and they do terrible things, and I think it averages out. But I would be okay with C, or honestly even D, for the fact that they are horrible.
And part of my ranking is In Universe, the girly show featuring Tracy Jordan is so lowly rated.
Yeah,
no one wants to be on that show.
I am Lurleen Katz, and these are my cats.
What do you think? B, C, or D, guys?
Kevo, weigh in. You're the biggest 30 Rock fan in this house.
In this house currently, yeah. Didn't I already vote? Did I not?
You kind of
Not
gave
really.
You get like a D, a C, a B.
There you go. DCB, whatever it is. D or C, whatever pleases the court.
I think it's got to be C then, because we gave a bunch of Bs.
Cool, go.
I think the lower deckers represent the A-est A that can A, and I don't think they get an S. And the reason I don't think they get an S is because this is not their final form. This is about a group of people that are still gestating, and we're not meant to think this is the squad. We're meant to think these are the moments that I thank God that I'm alive. No. We're just meant to think that this is a great time in their lives, and they're all growing into the captains they're going to be, or whatever form their lives will take. This is an A for me. It's just not an S class. And the reason it's not an S class is because sometimes your group of friends don't represent the coolest squaditude. They represent your squaditude. And the difference between a bunch of theater kids being cool to a bunch of theater kids and the cool kids is that A and S for me.
I think I have to agree with you that they're the A because, yes, we as viewers love Beta Squad. We love Beta Shift. However, on the actual Cerritos, they're not the cool kids.
No.
They're not who you're trying to cozy up with. They're not the people you're trying to be best friends with. Even though in my headcanon, I am a nice young Betazoid that I get to be friends with them. I'm on their shift. They're my best friends. It's all good. But they're not the crew that you're like, I'm dying to be friends with them.
Right.
Funny enough, they're often seen as outcasts a little bit, where they themselves aren't really interacting a lot with other ensigns, other people on their shift. They're kind of left to their own devices. They only talk to one another, really.
You guys are out of your goddamn minds. This is an S-class crew all the way, especially after this week's episode. They are amazing. That Mariner is this absolute badass, that Boimler now, sorry, spoiler guys, click away now and come back in just like 2 seconds. That Boimler has captained. Acting Captain Boimler, come on, that that Tendi actually is an Orion criminal, that she can go toe to toe with the best of them. To me, this is an S tier squad. If we have to go A, that's fine. It would break my heart if the Power Rangers got S tier, but the Lower Decks crew did not.
But the Power Rangers are peak of their function, and I don't always feel like the Cerritos crew is, and that's fine. I enjoy them anyway, and it's why they are still ranked very high, but they're not always peak.
They're peak Lower Deckers. I don't know. The argument will go back and forth too much. I'm gonna put them at A because I think
peak Lower Deckers would be losers, is the thing. And I accept that.
Okay, I'm putting them at A.
All right. And I think that brings us to our final group that we're going to look at today, right? And that's going to be the people of Twin Peaks. Now, we're going to have to save that last 5 because we've ran kind of long. And unless you guys think we can do that last 5 in 2 minutes.
I wouldn't hate doing it tomorrow, so that come back and see our final results on our tomorrow broadcast. Maybe we'll talk about it.
I think that's kind of an amazing idea, Kevo. And
Okay, thanks.
I just want to finish out this list with the crew of Twin Peaks. Now, the thing about the denizens of Twin Peaks is you have some real fucking S++++, and you got some real D- shit. The people of Twin Peaks are a B. They are a B so hard because there are so many characters that I never want to see again. There are so many characters in Twin Peaks that just bore me. It's kind of like Lost, where like, oh, right, we're cutting to Ed now. Great. Ed. Right? And that's just where I kind of like lose some of my energy on Twin Peaks. Man, I love the characters in Twin Peaks that I love, but the stuff that lulls, it lulls real hard. And it makes it occasionally kind of hard to convince people to watch it. So I think the magic of Twin Peaks is an S, but David Lynch experimenting on ABC in the 90s occasionally gets a B.
Magic of Twin Peaks absolutely is an S. This is a squad class list. This is a D as a squad. This is not a squad. These are the denizens of a town, some of whom are actively trying to kill each other.
Great, no, you convinced me. This is a D.
It really is a D. I mean, I love Twin Peaks so much, but there is no cohesion in this squad. I was comparing so much of whether or not to do a photo that was the old Twin Peaks crew or the new one. There is
Lillard looking so good in the new one.
Oh God, there is no cohesion.
Kevo, how do you feel about Twin Peaks?
I mean, yeah, I have to probably agree that it's going to end up being on the lower end because not really a cohesive thing. There is certainly something about them that makes them unified, but does that make them a squad? I'm not so sure.
Jonah, I know you've only done some of your Twin Peaks homework, but is there any vibe you have early on from the amount of Twin Peaks you've peaked?
Well, yeah, they're all cheating on one another.
Yes.
Pretty much.
So, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be friends with any of those people.
Guys,
they're all like mysterious and vague about things.
They do be fucking.
Did we just D Twin Peaks?
Yes, and we did the squad of Twin Peaks. This is squads. This is not the Twin Peaks crew is not a squad.
Okay,
you know what?
Fine.
If David Lynch can come back and give me a better conclusion than Twin Peaks: The Return, maybe then. But until then, I don't think I can rank them that high.
Guys, we are going to pause here for the evening, and we're going to continue this tomorrow. But
Yeah.
when we continue this tomorrow, we're going to continue with this same ragtag crew of amazing squaddies. But until everybody gets to come back, and Kevin, what you got?
Well, I put into the comments so everybody could see what the final few things are that we have votes on. The people can go and vote themselves. We have the Disney Fab 5. We have the Whose Line Is It Anyway crew. We have the current slot of U.S. judges for RuPaul's Drag Race. We have the Moulin Rouge Lady Marmalade ladies. And, of course, we have the cast of Modern Family and their friend Batman. Because, as you know, if you have watched X's for show, Batman is part of the Dunphy family.
Oh, for sure.
Around here. And so, really, if you want to cast your vote for everything that we have done so far, definitely go make sure that you check us out in the comments. And until then...
Well, until then, Jonah, where can everybody find you on the interwebs until you come back to tear up this bracket?
Until I'm tearing up this bracket, you can follow me over on any social at Peak Jonah. That's Peak.
We love it so much, and we can't wait to have you back. But producer extraordinaire, Kevo, you are the guy without whom this show literally cannot begin or end. So I feel like you are the last and first word on this show every time. And until you come back, where can everybody find you given those words?
Well, if I am the words, then you are the soul, monsieur. And I also want to make sure that I draw everyone's attention to the fact that the music we've been bopping out to this whole time is from our very own Nico Action. And you can check out his music in over on SoundCloud. We've also got some really awesome music videos that we keep putting up on this channel. So always check out our live, our videos, our playlists, because we got a bunch of cool stuff over there. And until tomorrow, when we do our usual Sunday roundup, where I believe we'll be talking about the Drag Race Snatch Game, some spaghettification over on Loki, and some other cool things.
We're going to go egg D on Warwick's house.
We could. We might. She's down for that. She's a spooky bitch, and so am I. And you can catch my spooky stuff over at Kevo Really. That's KEVOREALLY. Thanksgiving Teak, where can the folks find you, and what are you up to, and what do you have to say?
I have to say that if you are the words and Nico is the soul, then I am the gallbladder. And you can find me at TK Elemental. That's all I have to say about that. Nico.
Me? Well, if you want to find out... Me?
You. I consistently figured out which way I have to turn, and I've been using it for everything it's worth.
Excited now that I look this way to see you, and I look down to see Kevo.
Like, hey, girl, I'm just looking at my wall, but it's Nico to me.
What's up? I love it.
Looking good.
You look so good. Girl.
We'll start doing some gags.
What you wear in a Snatch Game? So you guys can find me all over this interwebs at Nico Action. That's NICOACTION. But if you want to find out more about the show, you can find that at X is for Show. I'm Nico Action, NICOACTION. And the show is X is for Show at XIS for Show. And I realized I was like, is it the number?
We gotta go.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for hanging with us. We're going to finish this list tomorrow. It's been an incredible time hanging with you this whole 2 hours, and we can't wait to bring you the rest of this list tomorrow. Same bat channel, maybe slightly different time. So definitely stay tuned. Check the Twitter, check the Facebook postings, and we can't wait to bring you the rest of this. But until then, 3 things. Stay safe, be brave, evolve daily. 3 things you got to do.
And we'll see ya.